Hi, and welcome to the first of what will likely be a multi-part video series and talk here about recovery. Recovery is actually a very, very complex idea and topic, and there is a lot of research there about how to do it the best. For this first one, we're going to cover the super basics here for you, which are things that you can start doing right now. Later on, I'll begin to go and talk about other techniques and ideas and technology, but that's for later. I'm going to try to keep this one short. So, big tips for recovery. Number one, eat. That's the biggest thing here. And we want to eat within 30 minutes of finishing activity. This is the magic kind of window to maximize glycogen storage. And if you're going, what the heck is glycogen? Go check out the Energy Systems talk and watch the one through glycolysis, and you'll see what glycogen is and where we store it. So our big key here is our first one is we're going to create more stores of a carbohydrate within our cells. That's a big part of our ability to just like recover. Number two is rebuild. Here's why we eat protein behind it. We need to repair the damage that we've done to our cells while we're going and working out. All right, and protein plays a key role with actually changing a lot of things within our cells. Part of this rebuilding, I'll say, is we have to clear out a lot of the what we call metabolic waste products that go and build up as we go and work out. And then we're also going to fuel adaptation, which is going to be your cell adapting to what you just did. So the first one is eat. The second one is pretty common sense here. Again, I think hydrate. This is one that most folks are really bad at. And most adults kind of, in general, suck at this, and I'll include myself in this as I've been going and working on this myself throughout the last about 3-4 months. On average, we say that you need something like 2 to 4 liters of water a day. As I know all of you go and work out a fair amount, especially at our Boise Brave mountain bike practices, this might actually end up being higher depending on what we've been doing and how long we've been out and if it's been 100, plus during our rides. But this is a good general place to start in terms of daily hydration. If you want to go and take a look at this, I would encourage you to find some way to track what you drink and go and track it for 3 days and see where you actually fall. There's a lot of ways I can do this, and there's a ton of just apps I can use to easily log my water intake. So that's part two. If you want to go and think about the hour after, so within 1 hour, aim for 18 to something like 24 ounces of water. I think that's a fair bet there of water consumed, or a liquid, in fairness. Number 3, and this one seems so easy I shouldn't have to say it, but I will. Rest. We like saying in physiology, training makes you slower, rest makes you faster. When we rest is when we actually adapt. And that's when you're going to actually increase my ability to become faster. We actually have, if we have heart rate or power, we can make these what we call training load charts, which if you just go and think of this as a scale, as I train, my fatigue or my acute load goes up. My chronic load, which is how fit I am, also goes up as well. But there's a point where this gap becomes a problem, and I become so fatigued that I don't perform well. As I rest, the acute load goes down fast, and my fitness over here will slowly begin to go down, but it's much slower. So again, I've got a gap here that we call the training stress balance, and as I rest, it gets smaller, which means generally, not always, I'm more able to access the fitness I have. Now, this whole thing right here is very generalized, and I'll go and tell you this is a whole different talk that gets really complex that we probably won't have for a very long time. But Rest. That is like the biggest thing I can tell you. So this is me going and telling you, play Halo, play, whatever. Put up your feet, do your homework, do whatever, but stay off your feet. Rest, easy. All right, and this is the biggest thing I can say. Most people don't go and do this. I'll go and ride my bike in, the morning, and then I get home, and then I decide I want to go back out later in our day and do a jerk jump, session for 3 hours. That's actually hurting your ability to recover and adapt and become fitter. So make sure you get enough rest. Sleep is a part of this as well. One last thing, and then I'm done, I promise, for our first talk. Active recovery, which sounds like a weird term. If you feel a need where you're like, you know what, it's a great fall day, I rode yesterday hard, and I really would like to get out and just be outside, this is a great thing I can do. So I can go out there for 15 minutes, and I would argue for all of you up to 45 at most. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out on flat roads or on a trail that's really, really flat, and I'm going to bike at a pace that you would if I was going to go out and ride with, let's say, a 5-year-old, which is really, really, really easy. If I think about my perceived exertion, so how hard I feel like I'm going, as a scale from 0 to 10, these rides are a 0.5. So very, very easy. The point of these is to increase our blood flow, which is going to improve recovery. This is not a bad idea, as we have Mondays and Wednesdays right now, and we have a day between them. If you want to get out on a Tuesday, this is not a bad way of doing it to promote recovery for Wednesday's team ride. With that said, that's the end of our first talk on recovery. I will try to actually build a bit of a series out here for you. And again, as always, if you have a question, feel free to throw it in the comments or bring it into practice ideally.